She was my boss, married, powerful, untouchable. And that night, we shared one hotel room.
はい、あとはプリントアウトするだけなんで。
ほら、ネクタイに曲がってるわよ。もしもし、今日なんですけど、そちらに空き部屋ありますか？
I thought I knew her, the woman everyone admired. But behind the confidence was a loneliness no one saw. I told her how I felt. I thought it was over. I thought I'd ruined everything. But what she did the next morning, I'll never forget. This is the story of how I fell in love with the one person I was never supposed to have, and how she chose me anyway. He was 26, single, and already in love with a woman he believed he could never have. Michael had worked at the food manufacturing company for 2 years' steady job, good performance reviews, kept to himself. But there was one thing, or rather one person, that made his heart beat a little faster every day at work. His boss, Hara. Have you ever loved someone who seemed untouchable? Hara was everything. Sharp, respected, always impeccably dressed, always in control. The kind of woman who didn't just walk into a room, she owned it. People whispered about her confidence, her ability to close million-dollar contracts, her piercing eyes, and of course, her marriage, a ring she never took off. So when Michael was suddenly assigned to accompany her on a business trip, just the two of them, it felt like the universe was either playing a cruel joke or giving him a terrifying opportunity. He was supposed to meet her at the company lot. When he reached the car, sweaty and flushed, he was ready for hell. But instead of being scolded, Hera simply looked at him from the driver's seat, gave a tiny smile. That smile? It broke something open in him. The car ride was long. Michael tried to be helpful, offering to drive, staying awake, bringing up the project files. But every time their eyes met, his brain scattered like puzzle pieces. She was surprisingly relaxed, made him laugh with dry, sarcastic humor. But reality caught up fast. The meeting that afternoon was tense. The contract had a serious discrepancy, something about production, capacity expectations that neither side had fully aligned on. The partner asked to reconvene the next day, giving both teams a night to review and adjust. Hera looked frustrated, but composed. We stay tonight. We fix this. No mistakes tomorrow, she said. That's when the real irony hit. All the hotels in the area were fully booked. There was a local festival going on. Tourists had flooded the town. One room left. One bed. Michael stood frozen at the reception desk, credit card still in his hand, while Hera calmly said, "It's fine. We'll manage." Then she took the key. He didn't know what was worse, the panic in his chest or the hope that crept in, uninvited. Back in the room, things moved quickly. She set up her laptop, ordered 2 dinner trays, and took off her blazer, revealing a loose white blouse that made Michael swallow hard. She was focused, he tried to be. But as they sat side by side at the small hotel table, blue light from the screen glowing on her skin, Michael couldn't stop watching the way her hair fell over her shoulder, the tired grace in her movements. He wasn't just attracted to her. He admired her, her strength, her intellect, her ability to make decisions under pressure. But more than that, he cared. And yet, he knew she had a husband. This was nothing more than logistics, professional necessity. That single hotel room wasn't a sign. It was just bad luck. So he told himself not to feel anything, not to read into anything, not to cross the line. But that line was already starting to blur. As they worked late into the night, neither of them knew that the contract wouldn't be the only thing rewritten before the morning came. The hotel room was quiet, save for the tapping of laptop keys and the faint hum of the minibar fridge. The document was finally starting to come together, corrections made, numbers aligned, conditions clarified. Michael sat beside her, sleeves rolled up, tension buzzing beneath his skin like static. He tried to stay focused. God, he tried, but it was hard. So hard. Her scent was subtle but hypnotic, vanilla and something warm, like cedarwood. Her hair, pulled back at the start of the day, had loosened into soft waves around her face. She looked tired, but not defeated, just real. Human, vulnerable. Michael wasn't used to seeing her like this. He was used to her standing tall in meetings, leading strategy calls, dressed in power suits. But here, in this quiet room, hunched over a laptop with her bare feet curled under her on the chair, she looked softer. He glanced at her. She was reading a section of the contract, brows furrowed, mouth slightly parted. He looked away. He looked back. She turned suddenly, catching him mid-gaze. "What is it?" she asked, her voice calm, curious. He panicked. "Nothing. Just thinking." She didn't press, just nodded and went back to editing. But something cracked inside him. He wasn't just thinking. He was falling. Michael had admired Hara from afar for so long, her intelligence, her presence, her grace. But tonight, that admiration had deepened into something heavier. He didn't want her on a pedestal anymore. He wanted her close. He wanted to know who she really was outside of titles, outside of boardrooms. And that scared him. She was married, beautiful, successful, out of reach. He told himself that over and over like a prayer, trying to crush the feelings rising in his chest. But the universe didn't care about his prayers. Her phone rang. She looked at the screen, hesitated, then answered with a flat, "Yes." Michael heard the voice on the other end, even from across the room, slurred, harsh, angry. Her face didn't change, but her eyes did. They dimmed just a little. "Not now. I told you I'm working," she said quietly. "I said not now." Then she hung up gently and placed the phone face down on the desk. Silence. She didn't explain. She didn't have to. Michael felt a weight settle in his chest. All this time, he'd imagined her life as perfect. But now he saw the cracks. The pain she kept hidden. The strength it must take to show up every day as the boss, the leader, the one with all the answers, while carrying a loneliness no one saw. "Hera," he said softly. She looked at him. No mask, no shield, just eyes that had seen too much and said too little. "Are you okay?" he asked. There was a long silence before she replied. "Not always." Then, with a half laugh that didn't reach her eyes, she added, "But I get through it." Something about the way she said that shattered him. He didn't want her to just get through it. He wanted her to feel loved, safe, chosen. And without thinking, he stood up and walked to the minibar, grabbed 2 beers, opened them. She took hers without a word. They clinked bottles. They drank. It wasn't much. Just enough to loosen the edges of a long, heavy day. They sat on the edge of the bed now, shoulders touching. It was Michael who broke the silence. "I know this is going to sound stupid," he said, eyes fixed on the floor. "But I've had feelings for you, for a while." He didn't look at her, couldn't. "I've tried to ignore it. I know it's not right. You're married. You're my boss. But I just had to say it, even if it makes things worse." The silence was terrifying. She didn't move, didn't speak. After what felt like a lifetime, he turned to her. She was looking straight ahead, unreadable. Then she sighed, stood up, and walked to the window. "You're not the first," she said quietly. Michael blinked. "What? To fall for me?" she clarified. It happens. Power confuses people. But this... She turned to face him, and her expression had softened. This felt different, because you never tried to impress me. You just were, and I noticed that. He didn't know what to say. But then she added, "But I can't do this. Not now." He nodded quickly. "I understand. I'm sorry." "No," she said, walking toward the bed, pulling the blanket over herself. "Don't be sorry. Just go to sleep." And with that, she turned her back to him. Michael sat there for a while, still holding his beer, his heart beating so loud he was sure she could hear it. She didn't. Eventually, he lay down on the other side of the bed, fully clothed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how a day could feel like a lifetime. He had no idea what the morning would bring. But one thing was clear, he had crossed a line. The words were out. The silence was real, and his heart had finally spoken. Whether she heard it or not was no longer up to him. Morning light slipped through the narrow window blinds, rushing warmth over the room. Michael stirred, eyes heavy, heart heavier. The weight of last night sat like a stone in his chest, his confession, her silence. He braced for awkwardness, regret, maybe even anger. But then he heard her voice. "Michael, wake up." He opened his eyes. She was standing near the mirror, hair tied neatly, blouse crisp again, coffee in hand. The boss was back. He sat up quickly. "No need," she interrupted gently. "We should get going." He nodded, fumbling to fix his wrinkled shirt, his thoughts spinning. She opened the door and stepped out, but then paused just outside. When he reached her, she turned, eyes softer than he'd ever seen them. And then, quietly, deliberately, she reached for his hand. He froze. She held it for just a second longer than necessary. Her thumb grazed his knuckle. "I heard you," she said, "and I didn't ignore you." He looked into her eyes, searching for a dream, but found only truth. They walked out together. That day, the meeting was a triumph. And so was the beginning of something real, not a fantasy. Just love. Have you ever fallen for someone you couldn't have? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss more powerful stories like this.